Hey guys, Harry here from the Art Gear Guy. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're new to the channel, I would just like to say thank you and welcome. I've had a lot of new subscribers lately and I just wanted to formally say welcome to the channel and thank you so much for subscribing. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel and you enjoy the content, please do like and share and subscribe to the channel. It really does help it grow and get to more people. So the review that I have today is another set from Kalour. Now Kalour have so many different sets out, it's unbelievable, and it's really difficult to tell why you should get one set over the other. Now I've got a few sets that I've reviewed over the years, and I will get round to doing like a comparison and compare them to other pencils like the Castle Arts pencils, the other pencils in that kind of like bracket, your budget range pencils. I seen this set on AliExpress, I think it was, and I don't know how long this set has been out, but it looked new to me. I couldn't remember seeing it before, so it's really difficult to kind of like pinpoint when this set came out, but nevertheless it was a new set. I hadn't seen it before, so I thought I'll get it. And what really interested me was the fact that this set comes with a colourless blender and a colourless burnisher. Now, for anybody that is unsure, I will explain the difference, I will explain how the art industry will tell you that there's the difference between these two types of pencils, but really there isn't the difference isn't very big. And another reason why I really wanted to get this was because there's a lot of claims on this set, and I wanted to get them to test the claims and just to talk about the claims as well, because one of the things that really irks me a little, quite significantly, is I get that these companies have got to market their product. They've got to sell the product, but when a new colour pencil artist, somebody getting new into the medium, has a look online and they see a set and it has all these words like expert and artist quality and artist grade and things like that, it draws people in. And I just want to kind of like make people aware of the fact that just because it says on the tin that it's artist quality or that it's this, that or the other thing, don't read too much into that, and try to bear in mind that this is just marketing from the companies. Now, I'm not saying they're all like that, but a great deal of them are, where it's just that, it's just marketing. So anyway, let's take a look at the colours that you get in here. I'll also show you a swatch that I've done, and then we'll get around to doing, I'll show you some of the testing and also some of the artwork that I've done as well with these pencils. And then obviously I'll let you know what I think of the pencils and my conclusion with regards to the testing and the demonstrating that I've done with them. So as you can see here, it's a 72 set. Now I seen somebody comment say that they have a 50 set, so I'm not 100% sure whether you get the burnisher and the blender in the 50 set, but the 72 set was the bigger set that I could see. Now they say here along the top, 72 unique colours, artist quality, 4mm lead, blendable oil based lead, soft smooth core, rich and vibrant colours, break resistant, whatever that means, round barrel, acid free and non-toxic. Okay, so lots to break down there. If you have if you're not aware, my stance with oil and wax based is I've already put a video out about that. I'll have a link down below. I'm not going to go into it in this video, but if you want to know what my views on this myth that all pencils are just either wax or oil and that there's no in between, go and check out that video and you perhaps maybe understand my stance on this particular issue. On opening this set, the pencils themselves are in these plastic trays and they lift out. So on the top tray here, you'll see some images popping up on your screen now. The top tray here, we have a lot of yellows, yellow ochres, leading into peachy, pale pinks, then more into magentas, then some oranges, into the slightly darker reds. The middle layer comes into the lighter blues, some darker blues, a nice selection of greens here along this middle tier. Again, don't forget, I'm going to show you these on paper in a second. And then the bottom layer, we've got a few more darker greens, some more purples, darker purples, and then we come into our earth tones, really. Walnut brown, Van Dyke brown, that type of colour. And then towards the end here, we have a metallic gold, a metallic silver. Then we've got a warm grey and a cool grey, a black, and then we have the Colourless blender and the Burnisher. So I'm just going to lift out the Colourless blender and the Burnisher. Okay, so I am going to demonstrate both of these pencils on my test page, and you'll see the testing of them alongside my odorless mineral spirits test as well of these pencils and how these pencils react to odorless mineral spirits. I personally don't use odorless mineral spirits. I much prefer to use a colourless blender, but I know a lot of you guys do, so that's why I included it in my testing. You'll have some images coming up here. So like I say, there's a colourless blender and a colourless burnisher. The blender is the natural wood barrel, and the burnisher is it's not a white barrel. It's kind of like a very, very, very pale warm grey colour. And according to the way the art industry would explain this, is that the colourless the burnisher has a harder core. Both of these pencils are, as they say, colourless. There's no pigment in them whatsoever. The other pencil, the blender, is a softer core. The blender is supposed to help you blend colours together. So you can do, like, say you're doing a circle and you just haphazardly lay down some colours, and you can still see a little bit of the pencil strokes. You're not really taking your time. You would then come in with the blender, and the blender would pull everything together and give you a much more smoother layer than you had already laid down. The burnisher is supposed to then, on your final layers, you would use a burnisher, and it would give you a more sealed in appearance, like a sheen on it, almost like if you were doing, say, fruit, like a cherry or something like that, and that has that glossy skin to it. You would use your burnisher on your final layers, because when you're using your burnisher, you're putting a little bit more pressure on it, which therefore means that you're damaging the tooth of the paper. So that's the burnisher and the blender, but we'll get back to those a little bit later on. Now, also inside the tin, just before we get on to the characteristics of the actual pencils, inside the tin we also get this colour chart, which is, I think it's really handy that they have these now. A lot of sets come with these colour charts in them. Castle Arts as well is another one that provide this. It's kind of like on cardstock, so it's decent paper. It's not like they're giving you terrible paper, and you can lay out your colour swatch on this. I always prefer to do it on the type of paper that I'm more likely to use these pencils on, so I've done my swatch on some Bristol vellum paper, but I'll show you that in just a second. So as you can see, the core of the pencils is, as it says on the tin, 4mm thereabouts. The barrel itself is around about 7.9mm, and it is a round barrel. It has a nice weight to it. It's well balanced. half of the barrel is this natural wood effect, and the other half is your pigment identifier, and separating those is like a silver band around the middle. Along one side of the pencil we have the company name here, Kalour, and then on the end here we have Expert, another kind of like red flag to me, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. On the opposite side we have the colour name, and then beside that we have some lightfast ratings. Now this is what really confused me about this set, and again we'll get into that in a second. And then right in the very end here we have an alphanumeric number, which is going to correspond with the pigment inside the core of the pencil. On the inside of the tin, again we have another colour swatch, but just be mindful of the fact that these colour swatches that are on the inside of tins, they're laser printed. They're not using the same. They're just a very quick, to give you a very quick glimpse of what type of colours that are inside the tins. Don't rely too heavily on them, because they use different paints and things like that there to come up with these colours. So just be mindful of that. Then right down at the bottom here of this swatch on the inside tin, we have their lightfast legend. So 1 star or 1 cross, in this case, extremely lightfast. 2 star or 2 cross is good lightfast. 3 stars, it just says lightfast. 4 stars is limited lightfast, and 5 stars is less lightfast. This whole legend is nonsensical to me in that regard, because the 3 stars, it just says lightfast. Okay, lightfast. How lightfast? The next one, it says limited lightfast. Limited to what? Limited how? That doesn't mean anything to me. And then less lightfast. Okay, less lightfast than number 4. Fair enough. But in terms of the blue wool system or the ASTM system, what does less lightfast correspond to? It really doesn't make any sense. Now, I get what they're trying to do here, but again, this is what draws people in to buy sets like this. And I'm hopefully this review will give you a very, very good overall view of what these pencils are really like, so that you don't go out and buy this set thinking that you're going to get highly lightfast pencils, or that you're going to get expert pencils, or that you're going to get artist quality pencils, because none of those are true. Another really strange thing about this lightfast legend, or this whole idea of even categorizing the pencils as lightfast, is so 1 and 2 stars. So 1 star is extremely lightfast, and 2 stars represents good lightfast. There are no pencils with 1 star, and there are no pencils with 2 star. With the 3 star lightfast legend, according to this, there are 10. With the 4 star, there are 32, and with the 5 star, there are 30. So basically, what they've actually said is they have created a legend themselves, and what they're basically saying is that none of their pencils are lightfast. So why didn't they just, not even put it in there? Why did they not just leave that part of it out and just sell them as all the other pencils that they make and manufacture, and sell them as that, just like budget range pencils for adult colouring book artists, that type of thing? I think by putting this lightfast legend in there and having these little stars on it, the swatch and on the pencils, I think that pulls people into a false representation, because as soon as they see lightfast, as soon as they see a lightfast legend, they think the pencils are lightfast. Okay, they may not think that all the pencils are going to be light fast, but they are assuming that some of those pencils in there are light fast. And by their very own legend, by the very own system that they have created, none of the pencils are light fast. None of the pencils are what you would consider light fast. If you look at the Blue Wool and the ASTM system, you know, they have a high end of the scale and a low end of the scale. And the big pencils that are out there, like the Caran d'Ache Luminance, the Derwent Lightfast, all those pencils, you might have a few pencils in there that are low light fast, but the vast majority of them are either, you know, LF1 or LF2, or in with regards to the Blue Wool system, you know, 8 or 7, possibly even 6, which means that they're high light fast. So I really don't understand the reason behind this. Well, other than nefarious reasons, which is just my opinion. I don't know whether this is done for sure or anything like that, so I'm not trying to say that they are doing this. It's up to you to make up your own mind. I don't see the sense in putting the Lightfast Legend in there and telling people that none of the pencils are Lightfast. I don't see the point in that. So as you can see here, the swatch that I've created, I've done this on Strathmore 300 series Bristol vellum paper, which is a decent paper to use. I've just added this Lightfast Legend up at the top and on each colour, just for your own reference sake, if you wanted to look at it and see for yourself. Along the top here you can see there are a really good selection of yellows. I like this yellow ochre deep. Some fleshy tones here, coming into the peaches, light pinks. The selection of reds as well is quite nice. I like this Crimson Lake, which is nice and dark, the Carmine Red, and the Scarlet are really nice reds. The blues here, we've got a nice light blue. This Cloud Blue is probably the lightest blue that is in this set, but I really like this indigo as well. It's really nice and dark. Then they've got this Ocean Blue here, which is like this bluey green colour, and then right underneath that you've got a phthalo green. Now you've got this next section is all your greens and turquoise colours, but I really like that phthalo green. We've got some really nice, what I would call like olivey green colours. You've got an olive green, leaf green, and oxide of chrome green here, which I really like. It's kind of like a darker version of the olive green. Chrome green, and then along here you've got this gorgeous teal green and light aqua, and then a few kind of like really light greens, this turquoise green, jade green, magenta, match green, turquoise green. Then down here at the bottom we got some a darker green here, this forest green, and this green is like a grey green. I love this colour. I love this colour whenever I'm doing botanicals. Along here we've got some really nice purples. This oyster colour is gorgeous. It's kind of like a really nice shadow tone that you could use. And then, like I say, along the bottom here we're coming into our earth tones. So we've got some terracotta, brown ochre, sepia, walnut brown. This Van Dyke brown is really nice and dark. Then we've got gold and silver. Now I miscalculated laying this out, so I had to put the rest of the colours on my demonstration sheet. So you can see here we've got Payne's grey, then we've got a warm grey and a cool grey, and then we've got the ivory black. Now before we get into the testing, I'll show you what these colours look like on black paper as well. So this is the colours on some black paper. Now this doesn't determine whether the pencil is good or bad. Artists just like different things. Some artists prefer really nice thick opaque pencils, and other artists prefer more translucent colours like you would get in, say, Faber-Castell Polychromos. As you can see here, it's kind of like a mixed bag. So we've got this lemon yellow, which is pretty translucent, cerulean blue light, which is really quite opaque, cherry red, which is actually, in the grand scheme of things, considering it's on a black paper, it's quite opaque. This yellow green, which is the lightest green that's in the set, or sorry, not the lightest, but about the third or fourth lightest green. It's the closest green that I could get to, like a grass green. It's kind of like quite it's in between opaque and translucent. The white I was really surprised with. The white is nice and opaque. Now it's not like Derwent Chinese white opaque or anything like that, but for a budget set of pencils, you normally get a very, very translucent white in those types of sets, but this is a really nice white in my opinion. Okay, so we're up now with the test, and we can see here on the blending test. Now I didn't use the blender, the Colourless blender, or the Burnisher for this particular test. All I used was the two colours that are in the actual test. So for here, I've done blue and yellow to give me this really nice green, and this test just shows you how well these colours blend. And I know some people might think, well, that's going to happen all the time. It doesn't. If you look over some of my reviews, and there are a lot now up on the channel, you'll see that this doesn't work out all the time. Some colours just don't do it. Some pencils just don't do it. The red and yellow gives me a decent orange. It's not very noticeable, but it is there. I perhaps, if I'd have used a slightly darker red, I maybe would have got a better orange or even a lighter red. And then the red and the blue here, which tends to be the more difficult one to get. You can see here with the red and the blue, I've got this really nice purple. So they blended really well, and don't forget this is on Bristol vellum paper, so it's not very toothy. So now we have the layer test. Now again, Bristol vellum paper, not incredibly toothy paper, so I was really pleasantly surprised at the ability for these pencils to layer on top of each other. There was a little bit of crumbling, so when I done this layer test, as I always do, so I will hold the pencil at the back like this and just go over and just do, like, I do it like this and create one layer. Then I'll come into the second one, do the same thing twice, and that's how I build up my layers for this particular test. It's not very scientific, but it's the best way that I can do it, and ensure that I'm keeping a relatively consistent pressure and things like that all the way throughout the test. So as you can see here with the first layers, all the way up to so like this is 5 light layers on this last column. You can see there that there is a clear distinction between each layer. And I was really pleasantly surprised with the way that these pencils layered, like I say, on Bristol vellum paper. Then you can see here this heavy application, and this I think shows you, or it's a really good representation of just how vibrant and saturated these pencils are. If you just let me bring back the swatch for a second. It's something that I failed to mention when I showed you the swatch. You can see here, whenever I'm doing my swatch, I'll always start at the bottom, heavy, and fade out to the top. Or sometimes I'll do it like heavy at the top and fade out to the bottom. It just depends how I'm feeling. But I do generally try to fade the colour out. And you can see here that with all of these colours, they're really bright and vibrant and well saturated colours. I didn't experience any problems, any issues whatsoever with laying down colour with these pencils. Now, one or two of them was a little bit scratchy. One or two of them. None of them gave me any issues. None of the pencils gave me any issues with sharpening. Now, I always use this little M&R handheld sharpener. This is my go-to sharpener all the time. And I would much rather have an electric sharpener, especially doing what I do, where I am, testing and demonstrating pencils all the time. Sometimes I'm opening sets of like 300 and I've got to use this little handheld sharpener to sharpen them all, and it's a pain in the backside. But this little sharpener gives me the best point that I can get from a pencil. When I get a pencil and I sharpen it to that point, I know that it's going to break as soon as I touch the paper with it. So I'm always very, very light-handed with it when it's like that. But even when I came down and, when I was starting off and the darker section, some of the colours were quite crumbly. And I would say about 3 or 4, possibly even 5, were a little bit scratchy. Whenever I was layering it out on the swatch. And some people have said to me that when they were sharpening the pencils, they broke a lot. I honestly, listen, I can only portray in this video how things were for me, and I just did not experience that at all. So I'm not too sure what's happened there, but I just didn't experience any issues with sharpening whatsoever. As always, I've done some artwork with the pencils. I'll show you that in a second. But for now, I have this test that we're going to do with the odorless mineral spirits down at the bottom here, the Kalour Burnisher, and then the Kalour Blender. Okay, so we're going to start off here with the Kalour Blender. Just let me zoom in. Okay, so I'm just going to blend this out using the blender. And hopefully throughout this process you'll be able to see that if this colourless blender is any good, it will get rid of any pencil strokes that you can currently see, and it'll just bring these colours together without altering them because it's colourless. Now you can see there that it's leaving quite a lot of crumbs, but that's fine because the colourless blender is a much softer pencil than the Burnisher. So I started out on the lighter side of this sphere because I didn't want to pull in darker colours. But now that I've done that, I'll come down here to the darker part, and you can see there, like I say, this is blending it out without altering the colour. If you were to do this with like a white pencil, which you can do, there we go, that's broke that. So that's the first pencil that's actually broke on me. I did get some people saying that these pencils did break on them quite a bit, but I've not experienced that until this. This is the first time, but I am putting quite a bit of pressure down on it. Another bit broke off there. And I'm just doing what you would do here with your ordinary colour pencils. You can see there that the colour is, I am dragging the colour up here a little bit. This colourless blender is bringing the colour up. And that's that. So when you're using a blender like this, I'm not using too heavy a pressure But nevertheless, even a soft core like this is still going to damage the tooth of the paper a little bit. So you got to bear that in mind. Now the Burnisher, which I'm just going to move over here. The Burnisher is a much harder core. You might be able to hear the difference. Yeah, I can hear the difference and feel the difference in both the cores. And as with the blender, because it's a colourless Burnisher, there's not going to be too much colour distortion. So I'm just going to do it exactly the same way as I did with the blender. Now the idea behind the Burnisher is that you would ordinarily use this for your final layers. So you've done all your layering, and you would use your Burnisher for your final layer. And what it would do is it would basically make it look shiny, the final layer. So you wouldn't use it for everything, but if you were, like I say, doing a tomato or something like that, that you wanted to help represent that it had like a glossy sheen to it, they say to use a Burnisher like this. I've never come across any set where there is a Burnisher and a blender in the set. Derwent have a set of two pencils, the Burnisher and the blender that they have, but I've never actually come across a set of colour pencils with a Burnisher and a blender actually in it. Not off the top of my head in any case. I can't think of any sets off the top of my head where both pencils. I know with the Lyre Rembrandt you get a blender. Okay, so there's the Burnisher done, and once I'm finished, I'll have an image pop up on the screen of kind of like a before and after, and you'll be able to determine which one you think works better. Okay, finally, I'm just going to use this odorless mineral spirits. Now, the benefits of using odorless mineral spirits over the other two mediums that I've just shown you there is, and I'm just going to do this exactly the same way. Start off in the light and then work from the dark. Is that when you apply about 5 or 6 layers of colour pencil, you are filling in the tooth of the paper, whatever paper it is that you're using. When you use odorless mineral spirits, that kind of like rejuvenates the paper or the tooth of the paper, because you're essentially liquefying the pencil. So what you're supposed to do then is let it dry and then come back, and because the tooth of the paper has been rejuvenated, it gives you the ability to apply more layers, and you can pretty much keep this process going as long as you can, building up depth and really nice, dark, rich colours. So that's the benefits of using odorless mineral spirits over the likes of the Burnisher and the blender. And there's the final 3 together there. So you're probably just looking at that think that in my opinion, the odorless mineral spirits looks a little bit better, but it depends what you're going for. To see the artwork that I've done with these guys, I'll have a speed drawing over on my YouTube channel, as well as some still images of the artwork as over on the Art Gear Guide. But for now, guys, this is my review of this Kalour set. Like I say, I'm not too happy with the different terms and stuff like that they use with these pencils. The lightfast rating that they give them is nonsensical in my opinion, and I really don't like those marketing techniques that they use, because for people that are just coming into colour pencils and they want to try and they want to dip their toe in, they may not know an awful lot of information about colour pencils. They could get just drawn into that type of thing, and I don't think that is very genuine. In terms of actually using the pencils, I really enjoyed it. The artwork that I did as well, I did on Derwent lightfast paper, so it was a completely different paper. It gave me completely different results because it had better tooth on the paper. Ordinarily, you wouldn't use a high quality paper with a budget range pencil, but it's entirely up to you what you do. And I just want to, whenever I'm doing these reviews, I'm trying to demonstrate it in all ways that I can. I really enjoyed the pencils in terms of their layering ability, their blending ability, and the saturation of the colours. It's just the way that the pencils are marketed. Some of the terms that are on the pencils, artist quality, expert quality, things like that, I'm just not too happy about with. Anyway, guys, if you've had these pencils, you've used these pencils, please let us know in the comment section what you think of them, whether they break a lot on you when you've been sharpening, or whether you get all that crumbling as well whenever you're laying them. So let us know in the comment section. Also as well, if you're in the market for a set like this, if you've got any questions that perhaps I missed out on, don't forget, go across, check the written review, and if there's nothing over there to help answer your question, just fire me an email or leave it in the comment section and I'll definitely get back to you. Also, guys, finally, if you want, you can follow me on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. All of those social media sites, I'm always putting stuff up there, and that's really about it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. I look forward to hearing from you all. I look forward to seeing the conversations in the comments section, and I will reply to as many of them as I possibly can. Thanks, guys. Bye.